Main trans engine. Number 1, 2 on. Number 3, 4 off. Number 5, 6, 7, 8 on.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of the Plamo Crew podcast. I'm here with my guest, Citrus, if he'd like to introduce himself. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is, but just in case, here he is to tell a little bit about himself.
Hello, I'm Citrus, and you're listening to this podcast.
Thank you for the introduction. If you guys are wondering why this podcast exists, basically, I was thinking of ways to produce more content for when I'm gone at basic training. Also, if you're listening to this right now around the time it comes out, I am actually gone at basic training. So I'm not going to be able to read or respond to any of your comments, but I'll hopefully be able to get around to all of them when I get back in like 4 months. But yeah, I figured this would be a fun thing to do. Just kind of shoot the shit with somebody else who also likes model kits, and we can just kind of talk for a little bit. Hopefully it'll be entertaining to you guys, and I think that's about it for the intro. I mean, there's not much more to it than that. We're really just going to be talking about model kits and mecha anime, I guess, if the topics divulge into that. But for today's episode, I actually reached out to Twitter and I reached out to YouTube, and I asked the audiences on both platforms for any questions that they might have had for either me or Citrus, and we got a decent amount of responses. So we're going to go through a couple of those right now and just kind of see where that takes us. So
I just gotta say, that was pretty smooth for something unscripted, because I'm super bad at weighing things. So
thank you. I usually am too. I usually am too. Like when I'm recording my videos, I'm pulling up the questions right now. When I'm recording my videos, I usually have to do like 10 takes of something sometimes because I just keep fucking it up. But Let's see.
Yeah.
So you can see my screen right now, right? You can see the screen recording.
Yeah, I see him.
So the first question here from Neku Sakuraba says, if you had to erase from existence one line from Gunpla model kits, what would it be? This will destroy all already made Gunpla kits of that series and will take away the cash band I made with them. That's an interesting question. What do you think?
Okay, I think, so I'm thinking about this in terms of not stuff that I dislike, but something that if it were gone would make the least amount of difference.
Right. Because I like stuff from all the lines. I think maybe something like, I don't know, advanced grade. I don't really think anyone currently is too invested in advanced grade.
I would agree with that, but the thing is, advanced grade did a lot of really cool things that subsequent kits picked up. Like the fact that they had so many different color details be filled out with like interweaving parts. That was really cool.
Yeah,
so
that
super
is
low
something
parts
to
count. Super
yeah,
cool
that is something to
color
think
separation.
about.
Yeah.
Like, if that didn't exist, would we have still gotten those developments at some point that those kits brought in, or would that come around eventually, or would it just not come around at all?
I mean, it probably would have, but it would, but in a different way. I think a line that is like the least impactful is probably something like speed grade, right? There were only 4 kits.
You're right.
They were sold for like maybe 5 minutes, if all I can remember. They did like 2 waves of 2 kits each, and it was just kind of like blech. Like there was nothing really interesting there, like engineering wise. I think they had some details on there that were like pre-painted and stuff, and then Bandai was like, no, we're not going to do that for our hobby division products anymore. So it's like, I mean, you could kind of call it like a predecessor to all of like the candy toy stuff that we have now. That's all really cool, like Universal Unit and the thing that we have now. But I don't know. I don't
Super
think
Mini Pla?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually just built a Super Mini Pla kit last night. I got the King Jader from I got that from Mercari through Bai, and it came it shipped and it arrived in a single day. It was kind of crazy, but yeah. I got the notification that it shipped, and it arrived 24 hours later. So I guess the span of a day, but it was technically 2 days. But yeah, that was an interesting build. That's probably going to be my next full-length review. Maybe the last one before I leave for basic, but I'd definitely like to talk about that. But somebody asked, is Citrus the guy who keeps helping me in Gundam Battle Gunpla Warfare? Apex Citrus, is that what you go by? Is that you?
I do not play any online Gundam game. So, no, that is not me.
Have you ever played Gundam Breaker 3?
Actually, I think I did. I played for about 5 minutes of it on my Vita.
Okay.
And is that Gundam Breaker 3? I don't know, whichever one that is.
I mean, I think Gundam Breaker 3 was on the Vita. I think that was the last one to come on the Vita because New Gundam Breaker came out semi-recently, like a couple years ago, and I'm pretty sure the Vita has long passed its days then.
Oh, actually, no. The Vita actually only stopped production in 2019. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's surprisingly long-lived.
Like, they were still, like, making games for it? Or it was just support for it?
Oh, yeah. There's like some small, like, weird indie stuff that would happen on it. But, yeah.
Like digital, or they were still getting the little disc cartridge things?
Oh, that I wouldn't know.
Okay.
But there definitely were still new units, like, in stores when I went to Japan in, like, November.
Wow.
In 2019. So... they were still around, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, you could still buy, like, brand new Sony branded accessories, too. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Gundam Breaker 3, that's an awesome game, and I have a copy of it coming in the mail. I can't wait to play that. But New Gundam Breaker, the successor to that, I don't know how that game came out afterwards, because it's... Excuse me, I just ate, so I've got the hiccups a little bit. But I don't know how that game came out after it, because... it's a direct downgrade in almost every sense of the word. The only thing that is better about it is the fact that you get some more kits to choose from when you're building your customs. I think there's like 250 kits, but yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I got as far as collecting like maybe 3 Zuda parts in Gundam Breaker 3. That's it. And I was like, the screen is too tiny. But I did get thinking
about getting a Vita to play it on.
But I did get a Vita TV.
Okay.
So I could like plug it in, and it looks okay in like 720p. It's not awful, but I just never got around to picking it up again.
Yeah, because if you want to get it on the PS4, you have to import it from Singapore. That's the only version that has English subs. You can just make a Singapore PSN account, and you can buy it from the PlayStation Store, or you can buy it from Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, I did the same thing with the Switch. What is it called? I think it's Crossrays, right? SDG Generation Crossrays, I think.
Yeah, I think so. That's also the one that's on Steam.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, when will I do cool epic custom kit bashes on my channel? I don't know, eventually, I guess. The problem with like doing kit bashes for me right now is that all of the kits that I have are already, like the kits I have in my backlog are already ones that I don't own a copy of, so I don't really want to cannibalize them for parts. So once I've, built most of those, I'll probably go back through and buy some of the ones that I want to combine, because I like to have at least one copy of each of the suits that I like.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. I just realized, I just reread that question. I think he's talking about the mobile game.
Oh, yeah, Gundam Battle Gunpla Warfare, the mobile game.
Ah, okay, I did play that. When it first came out, I played it pretty voraciously for about 2 weeks, and then I was like, I'm kind of done with this. So maybe that.
Did you
maybe
go
that's
buy
what it
Apex
was.
Citrus, though? That's the real question.
No, I don't. God, I don't remember. I haven't touched that in so long. So if it's recent, it's not me. If it wasn't, then it might.
I was gonna say, he said that this person keeps helping him, so I doubt that it's you.
Yeah.
Genesis asked, when am I gonna watch Garn? I'm watching Galgagar Final and X Kaiser right now, so I'll get around to Garn later. What got you into Gunpla? That is a good question. What got you into Gunpla Citrus?
Okay, so when I was a kid, my dad was super into plastic model kits. He never let me touch any of them, but like I'd always try to like steal them from his stash and build them when he wasn't looking. But like that, I never got really more than like a couple in. But like the first time I got a kit, I think I was 11. One of my friends who was more into anime and stuff at the time got me the 1144 Dragon Gundam from G Gundam. And I built it and I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing.
Right.
But like back then, Gunpla was really hard to find like locally for any kind of reasonable price. There was like this one store in the area that had them at all, and like no grades were like $20 or something like that.
Yeah,
Something ridiculous.
Bandai's definitely making a big push to kind of broaden the market of Gunpla, definitely in the West, like with the Premium Bandai US store. And just like I think they partnered at first, but now they like fully own Bluefin, right? So they have like really big distribution chains going through the U.S. right now.
Oh yeah. And so yeah, after that one kit, it was I didn't really touch Gunpla again because they're so expensive until I think it was like in 2010. I watched a review just on YouTube of the Perfect Grade Gundam Red Frame.
Okay.
And,
yeah, that was my first perfect grade.
yeah, so like 204 Toys and Wizard Tower did it. It was like this 3-part thing, and I saw like, wow, that is amazing. I'm going to find one of those. And I couldn't, but I did get the master grade.
Okay.
And
yeah, that's not
at
a
the
bad
same time, I
master
also
grade.
got the Unicorn OVA, but I built the Unicorn first.
Okay.
So my first real like Gundam kit I was going into knowing it was a Gundam was the master grade Unicorn, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is amazing. And then just pretty much hooked since then.
Yeah,
How
well, I
about
mean,
you?
at least you had like a good experience with it. You know, you didn't like fuck up the Unicorn. You're like, this shit sucks. You know?
Oh no, I thought it was amazing. Like all the tiny
yeah.
parts, I was like, yes, all of this
I do too.
tininess is just, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So like, I guess it kind of started like as a kid because I've always been into like giant robots and shit. As a kid, like my first real interest was Transformers, and I was really big into the G1 series. I had like not all the toys, but I had a decent collection of the toys. And then I started building Lego, and I would build like all the kits that had like big robots and stuff in them because I was like, well, I like Transformers and I like putting stuff together. So I kind of fell out of both of those interests for a while. I really was just kind of like into video games, not really doing anything special for the longest time. And then around 2019, I think, I stumbled across a picture of, what was it? It was the 7-Eleven exclusive RX-78-2 where he's got, instead of like his beam saber, he's got the sign with the 7-Eleven sign on it. Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'd like one of these. I wonder how much it costs. And then I looked into it a little more. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Gundam models are a thing. I wonder how hard it would be to get my hands on one. So I went to Amazon and I bought like a high grade. I think I did get an okay price on it. I don't remember paying too much for it. I built the high grade Banshee Norn Destroy mode.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed putting it together, and you know, for about the rest of the year, I think I bought maybe 4 or 5 more kits, and then I think early 2020 I started going to Galactic Toys, and I had gone there on recommendation from a friend. She told me, she said, hey, you know, Galactic Toys has a lot of Gundam model kits. If you're into that, you should check them out. I was like, oh, cool. I've never heard of them before. I went there, and I saw like wall-to-wall Gundam model kits, and I was like, holy shit. And I spent like $300 on just like a bunch of little high grades. So the beginning of 2020, I was building a bunch of little high grades, expanding my collection. I think in February, it was either January or February is when I started my channel, and ever since then is when like I've been really, really obsessed with it, like buying more and more and more, and you know, building more, obviously making content about them, and networking with the community on Twitter and on YouTube, which there's a lot of really great people out there that I love talking to and just sharing my hobby with. It's super awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was a little worried that, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
So, and also, I mean, like, congrats on your, like, you know, like, obviously, like, in Gunpla world, it's not, like, huge, but, like, it's a pretty meteoric rise.
Yeah, I know, it was insane. Like, I made that, I was doing okay, you know, I think I had about, like, just under 1,000 subscribers, like, my first 6 months or so. And then I made that introduction to Gunpla, like, the ultimate Gunpla beginner's guide or whatever, and that shit skyrocketed. Like, you know, 99% of my audience, I'm gonna say, probably came from that video. Because like the rest of my videos only get like 2,000 to 4,000 views max, and I've got like 15,000 subscribers now. But all of them, you know, all of them will come to me and they'll say like, yeah, I found you through that video, or I found you through, I think, maybe one other review that did pretty well. But I mean, I'm not complaining. It's cool to, you know, have people following me, and I'm just happy to have put out a video that so many people have said helped them get into the hobby and was, you know, informational but also concise and a good video. So
Yeah.
I can at least take pride in the fact that I made a good video and I've helped a lot of people get into the hobby, which is really cool. Somebody asked, out of all the mechanical designers, which are your top favorite ones?
You can go first on this one. I'll have to think for a second.
I would say off the top of my head, definitely Nagano. You know Nagano, the guy who makes the
yeah, okay,
5-star
yeah, of
stories
course.
mecha.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
I like Nagano a lot, and I like Ippei Gyobu, which is kind of funny because I'm not an Iron-Blooded Orphans fan at all. I tried watching the show like 4 times, I just can't get into it. I do kind of like some of the designs. I think my favorite design out of Iron-Blooded Orphans is the Greys, but I just really like Gyobu's very distinct design philosophy, and his work on the Solidea from the Square Enix arcade game, the Japan exclusive one called Starwing Paradox, is probably one of my favorite works by him.
Cool. For me, I like Ebikawa a lot, but not what's been happening lately, I guess you could say, like with all the Metal Build 00 stuff.
Oh, is he the one behind like the metal builds?
He did like most of the mechanical design for 00. The hero suit designs for Age, and I think also the grays and stuff like that for IBO.
Okay. On the topic of 00, I really don't care for like most of the mechanical design from that show except for the Gundams.
Yeah, right. My favorites out of the show is the Gundams, the GNX.
Yes, I do like the GNX.
Most of the Series 1 grunts, I like all of them. Like the Tyrans are cool.
The Tyrans are cool too.
Yeah, and the Enacts and Flags, like, yes. But,
I will agree to disagree there. I think the flag has to be one of my all-time least favorite designs.
Really?
Yeah, like
I mean, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not going to talk over you. What were you going to say?
No, it's just I just think it's really interesting because like most mecha like seem to sort of like focus on some kind of like strength as its like core design feeling, if you will. But like the flag and the enact are specifically designed to be like these very delicate, fragile things, and I think that not very many mecha explore that. Like Zone of the Enders gets in that a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, yes. Actually, the guy who does all of the mechanical design for almost everything Konami makes, he is a legend. I can't think of his name for the top of my head, but like all of the Metal Gear artwork, all of the orbital frames of Zone of the Enders, like that stuff is amazing too.
Yes, for sure. On topic of the flags though, like I do like the concept like you described. It's just like looking at like the designs, they just look too spindly to me. Like they look like stick figures with bulky torsos.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So
that's true.
I'm not gonna say somebody. I'm gonna keep saying like who's asking the questions to at least give them a little bit of credit. The person who asked the last question was Gun Tank. I might, if I have the time to edit it, I might just put the screenshots of the questions up on the screen so people can see them. But let's see. Doodle's Front Door asked, "What's your opinion on Pat Labor? Will you be picking up any of the new Moderoid kits for review?" I think Pat Labor's great. I have Pat Labor 2, the movie, on DVD, but I want to get the rest of the series. And I'd love to pick up the Moderoid kits if I have the money for them when they come out. I think they have that new Ingram carrier, or not Ingram carrier, the new Labor carrier coming out in their new wave of kits, and that one looked really cool.
I think Pat Labor is gorgeous.
Yes.
I have never seen any of it, I will admit. But I did read into like Pat Labor a bit, and I think that like thematically there's a lot of interesting things there.
Yes.
But it's always been one of those things where like when I had the time to watch it, like I don't feel like I'm really in a state to be able to fully appreciate it. Especially because I think Pat Labor 2 is like kind of it gets like dark, right? So like I
haven't seen all the series either, but I've seen a bit of it, and what I saw, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, like, so it's just like one of the things. It's like I've seen a lot of dark mecha in general already, and it's not that like I'm gonna say like, oh, Pat Labor's just like that, but it's just like if I have like 4 hours to burn and I'm kind of tired, like that's not exactly the thing I'm gonna watch for like easy, comfy view, if you know what I mean. Right.
Yeah. Speaking of like kind of older mecha anime though, have you ever heard of Metal Skin Panic Maddox 01?
So many of those words in there sound familiar, but I don't think I
You might be thinking of like Full Metal Panic.
Yes.
I know that one's more popular. Metal Skin Panic Maddox 01 was an old OVA, and there's actually a Kickstarter going around by Anime Ego, the co-founder of Anime Ego, to get a Blu-ray release of that. I think the Kickstarter's just in a preview stage right now. Nobody can actually back it, but they're going for $50,000, I think, to get a full Blu-ray release. And something that's interesting is they have a stretch goal of like, I think it's like 250,000, which if they reach that, they're going to be able to rehire the original director. And
Wow.
they're going to be able to rehire the original director, and he has a specific scene from the OVA that he wants to completely redo, and they're also going to let him make any other quality of life tweaks that he wants to make to the OVA as a whole.
That is amazing. That's like, oh my god, like imagine if you can get like Kobayashi, be like, hey, you want to remake Dragon's Heaven in full HD or whatever, and then be like, hell yeah. Wow, but if they can swing that for only $250,000, that'd be huge.
Yeah, it would be. It would be really cool. And, you know, I'm hoping that I have a little bit of money to throw at it when it goes public, because if you back $150, you get your name on the Blu-ray. Like, when you start up the Blu-ray, it'll have like a little thank you for the donators, and you can get your name at the very beginning of the Blu-ray. It plays every time you open it up. So like, damn, that would be pretty cool to have.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll check that out.
Somebody, let's see. What's the next one? Haynesden asked, what's your favorite AU series, and do you think Gundam going mainstream in the West would be a bad thing?
Well, my favorite AU is 00, which is,
same here. When I tell people to watch AUs, I always recommend 00.
And I also think it's a decent entry point for people, because it's like you can get into it without having to know so much background, because so much of 00's buildup is based on what already happens in real life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I remember like when I first watched 00, I was actually taking like some like comparative government course or something, and they're talking about like the Civil War in Ceylon, and then I'm like, oh hey, that was happening back then.
Nice.
And like talking about like the IRA and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. I always recommend people 00. I always try to recommend people the Universal Century because it's my favorite overall. But I always tell people, like, look, it is kind of an investment. There's a lot of shows. You can't do what I did and watch Gundam Unicorn as your very first Gundam show and know what's going on. I was confused as fuck the whole time, but I was like, wow, cool robot, you know, I didn't mind. I was like, you know, if you're gonna watch it in production order and commit to it. Start with the 0079 series. Don't watch the compilation movies. It might make it more digestible, but it's the inferior way to watch it. Watch the actual show.
And there will be like other things that make references to it that you won't get because the movies just skip it. So it's like
exactly.
Yeah. But Gundam going mainstream in the West.
I don't think it would be a bad thing beyond maybe, because a lot of Western fandoms, I guess, for lack of a better word, fan bases, whatever you want to call it, a lot of Western fandoms can be pretty cringe, but it's not like Gundam is produced in the West. It doesn't matter how cringe or how SJW or whatever you want to call it the fandom would get, whatever happens to the fandom, it's still being produced in Japan, you know?
And here's
the Western audience doesn't dictate what they do in Japan.
Absolutely. And well, I mean, like, I would say that for the most part, that doesn't really hold for anything like that's made in Japan. Like most things that are produced, well, okay, obviously not if it's like a serialized like manga or novel or something, but like if by the time that some Gundam thing has hit anime, which is basically like, I guess, the goal of all Gundam media, like that's just what it is, right? Yeah. Like the Twitter over there, like all the boards can complain as much as they want, but like the show's written, it's done. That's what's happening. Right.
Like the you know, if the person who asked the question is worried about like a Western rise in popularity ruining the franchise, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of people like come up to me talking about how like Gundam's gonna get ruined if it's not kept obscure and a hidden treasure in the West, and if Bandai makes more than one production facility for Gunpla, then Gunpla's gonna become garbage. Like, that is literally not how it works. But okay.
Yeah. I totally agree. I don't know. I mean, like, I do get that, like, some people want to, like, kind of hold on to Gundam as, like, okay, this is, like, my corner of anime or whatever, geekdom.
Yeah.
But it's, like, honestly, the more people who are into anything, the better the quality, the conversations about it can be. And, like, the more people can enjoy it from different ways. So, and I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't know about, like, you know, the conversation about like gatekeeping your hobbies is not really something I want to get into right now, but for me personally, anytime anyone expresses some interest in mecha anime, I'm like, have you seen Gundam? If not, go watch it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. We Heart Giant Robots asked, what started your interest in Gunpla? We did go over that. Were you a Gundam fan originally, or did the models introduce you to the anime franchise? For me, it was the models introducing me to the anime.
Same here.
Yeah, I was just really into building things, and I was like, these are cool robots I can put together, and I was like, oh, there's also a whole bunch of shows and media that I can consume to go along with them. And I think it's really cool if you're into the kits and the show at the same time, because when I first got into it, I only wanted to build Gundams. I was like, I actually thought the Zaku was one of the ugliest things I ever saw. I saw the Zaku, I was like, I'm never gonna build one of those. Those things look so stupid. I don't understand how anyone likes them. And then I started watching the show and I saw the Zakus on screen. I was like, okay, I'm going out to buy a Zaku model kit right now.
Yeah, I was kind of like that too, because in the beginning I was like, the RX-78 it looks like a robot from the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, why do so many people want this? Why do so many people like this? And then I was like, oh, this is also happens to be the thing that they use to showcase almost every new technology that comes out in the line. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then I'm like, it's so, that's the power of Gunpla, in my opinion, is that it can add so much more to just what you see on the surface that gives it so much more depth and just things you can enjoy about it.
Right. It's a very nice, like, symbiotic relationship, I guess I would say, because like when you see kits on the screen, you get to build them and you get to have like a representation of that in real life, and that kind of enhances your attachment to the series. And then also, if you're looking for new stuff to build, you can always watch the show and you might find a new design that you like, and turns out there's a kit for it. Or you know, if you're like Crossbone fans, or what else? What other shows don't really get like kits? I'm trying to think. There's
actually like, AOZ is still missing like so many, right? Because all they've done right so far is TR4 and TR6, and that's it. Like the other lines of AOZ, there's still all of those gigantic webs of like mobile suit genealogies. Those still have to be. Haven't seen any form of anything, not even like garage kits.
And that's the disappointing thing to me, because AOZ, from a purely design standpoint, is my favorite series from the entire Gundam franchise, hands down.
Oh yeah,
I love the AOZ stuff, and I'm really happy that I got my hands on some of those P Bandai kits. Somebody sent me the two master grade Hazels and a master grade advanced Hazel, and like the whatever the Titans colored one of the Wound War is, where it's got the two long blade rifles on the backpack.
Oh, I think it's called the Hazel Tube. It's so confusing because
the Hazel Tube. Their names are so weird, because you know you got like the Hazenthale 2 Ra and the Hazenthale Ra 2, and they're two completely different things.
Yeah,
I do have that 2 Ra coming in the mail from P Bandai. I pre-ordered that when it was in its. I think they did like a second run of it for Black Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did get one of those. I'm pretty excited about that. It's not going to be here until I'm at basics, so I got to wait till I get back to build it. But yeah. Krista Flower asks, what is your favorite video that you've made? And I guess, you know, we both make videos, so we can both answer that. So
sure.
What's your favorite video that you've made?
I think it's my Master Grade XS video. I
really like that one. That was actually the one that I found your channel off of.
Thank you. I was really happy about it because, so the thing that I wasn't happy about was how long it took me to make it, because
it takes a long time to make videos.
When I do the prep for it, I basically have to build the whole kit first, right? And because like the XS has 1.5 million parts, like having all of the parts sorted and like labeled correctly, and like knowing that all of the instructions to make sure you don't mess up on the film, and especially because with the XS in particular, there's so many things where like if you do it wrong once, you're kind of screwed, because it's all ABS, right? Mm-hmm. So that was like, that part was really stressful, and obviously by the time I was done with it, I think I had just piles of footage to edit together. But it was really nice because Zen Market sponsored that video, so they sent me the kit.
That's cool.
So I didn't have to go buy it, which was nice. And the other thing is I got to scratch a huge itch, because before this, there were in my opinion, no good reviews of this kit on YouTube, the new one or the old one. Everyone just say, oh, it's bad, it's big, it's a brick, you'll break it, blah blah blah, whatever. And
Bro, there's nothing wrong with it being a brick if it's supposed to be kind of a brick, you know?
Yeah, no, but even so, like on the stand, like it can still pose, it can look cool, right?
Right.
And I'll be honest, I did break one or two things here or there, but the fact that the whole thing still is so strong and still can transform, it's just like a testament to how incredible it was that this kit was originally made back in like what, 2002.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I just feel like nobody ever really captured how much depth there was to this until like, you know, somebody actually just put it together on camera and showed every step of the transformation without complaining for like 10 minutes every single time they pulled something apart. And it's just like, yeah, so that for sure, definitely.
Yeah, so we're about like, I'm going to trim these down a little bit in case there's like any parts where we're like accidentally talking over each other. So, but we're about like halfway through, like an hour. We don't have to do just an hour, but I wouldn't like to go over like an hour and a half or 2 hours. But I'm going to try to get some of these questions up that we can kind of go through because I want to get through as many as possible. Sorry if you asked a question, anybody on Twitter or YouTube, and we don't get to it. We could get to it in a future episode, but the future episodes are more likely going to be single topic based, and we can throw in some Q&A here and there. So let's see. Somebody's got a question for you specifically. They said, on Gundam markers, do metallic Gundam markers lose their silver backing material over time? Their gold lost it, and despite shaking repeatedly, it produces a brownish color.
Yeah, so I think what happens in that situation, so that's happening to my metallic green. And I think what happens is basically when, it's like, so the metallic markers have like two parts, right? So you have basically like the color part and then the metallic backing part. And I think when it's not mixed evenly, as you use it, because the metallic stuff is heavier, I have no idea how this works, okay? This is just me like completely spitballing here. Like basically the backing will run out first, like almost always, I think. Okay. And like no matter what I do with my metallic green now, because I've used it so much, it's basically, I think, gotten to a point where it's basically like empty now. But I mean, hey, now it's a clear green marker, so you know, it's nice. I can still use it for that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not like a Gundam marker expert or anything, although I do know that a lot of people also found my channel through that video. But yeah, I appreciate the question.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even answer the question about what my favorite video is. I just have to say the Gunpla Beginner's Guide, just because of the impact it had on a lot of new builders and the fact that it kind of springboarded my channel into getting a consistent subscriber growth. If we're talking reviews, though, I think my Galgai Gar SDCS review is probably my favorite. Let's see. What's your favorite kit you've ever built and why? I think for me, it's a toss-up between the Master Grade XX and the Master Grade Mark II Gundam, just because both were simple where they needed to be, but they were also really fun and engaging builds, and they come with a lot of really cool gimmicks. Like, I'm just a big fan of the XX design in general. I really like the twin satellite cannons, and I thought that build was very good. The plastic was very nice to work with, and it's just got a lot of really cool things about it, both design and kit-wise. And the Master Grade Mark II is just a great kit all around in general.
For me, I think, it's a tough one. See, you've only been doing this for what, about
like 2 years? I've been collecting them, building them like religiously for like a year and a half, just over. So I only have about like 100 kits built right now.
Oh my god, 100! Holy crap!
Yeah.
I've been doing this since like 2010, I think.
Nice.
I don't think I've built 100. I mean, I certainly didn't review everything I've built. My favorite kit of all time, you're gonna want to make me pick. Oh boy.
I get this question a lot too. Like, people ask me a lot, and I'm just like, I don't really know. I don't have a set one. Like, my answer's probably gonna change every time, just because I think of something different for a different reason.
I think one of my favorites, definitely, and not my. I can't say a top one of all time, right? Because Bandai's always gonna make new stuff. I'll always find old stuff.
Right.
There's like thousands of kits. I've only built so many, but
yeah.
One of my favorites is the high-grade Universal Century Gabthly.
Oh, nice.
I think it's RX-110 or whatever it is. I can't pronounce it, whatever. I messed up the original video of it so bad, like pronunciation so bad. I don't even think it's up anymore, but It is super old. Well, not super
Okay.
old. I think 2006 or so, something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm looking at it right now. It looks cool.
And the thing is, this thing was a transforming mobile suit, right?
Right.
Okay, actually, so all of the Zeta era kits that transformed from this era were just freaking amazing. But this one in particular had like these claws that would fold out of the legs. And it was just like mind-blowing to me when I built this the first time. And to this day, I don't think any other high grade I've ever built, actually no, even compared to like some real grades, like nothing in this scale has ever surprised me as much as when I did this.
Yeah.
And the fact that like I built it early on in my Gunpla experience probably it like cements that in the position. But like if you can find it, because I know Bandai doesn't reprint it very often, it is definitely worth at least looking into.
Right, yeah, no, based on the looks alone, I'd pick it up. I love those, like, I really do like weird, unconventional designs that don't look like just like a robot, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they got that kind of creepy, weird, organic look to them. I really like that.
Yeah, like Zeta's like freaking got just so many heavy hitters in its mechanical designs, and like
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Like, what do you think about, like, the Palace Athene?
Yes, that is also a really good one. I haven't built it, so I don't know how good the kit is, but absolutely
I like
gorgeous.
the design, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, which kit would you revive? I'm guessing this applies to, like, any grade, but revive makes me think of, like, high grades, like high grade revive.
Well, I mean, like, if the Master Grade Dom actually shows up this year, that would count too, right? And like, the XS is kind of like that also.
Right. Well, I mean, like, technically it would be like a Dom 1.5, but yeah, it's like a revive, a redo, you know, just like a general blanket term for redoing a kit, making it better to today's modern standards. I would really like to see a high grade gym revive.
Yes. Actually, there's no real grade gym.
Yeah, that too. I mean,
there's no like, they've already made like the real grade RX-78 in like 1.5 billion colors, and I'm like, you just change like 10 pieces and you have a new kit you can put on P Bandai for like 3,500 yen or whatever, and people will pay out the ass for it.
Like, they made that whole infographic saying like, coming soon, in production, real grade Goof Custom, real grade EVA, real grade gym, and then they just never fucking mentioned it again.
Yeah. But hey, speaking of that, like, they had that, there was like that big billboard of like Reborn 100 when the line first launched, right? That had like all those things on it. But like Jagan came out as a master grade instead. That's pretty cool. So,
I'm still waiting on a 1/100 scale Leo. We already have the tall geese. They just need to tweak a few parts.
Bruh, yes. Like, but for me, revive, I would like to see a revive Methus, because the old high grade proportions are just so weird. Methus, so it's like METHUSS.
NETHUSS. Okay. I just don't know what it looks like off the top of my head. Oh, okay, yeah. I do like that.
Like the way it looks in the mobile armor mode and in the high grade just looks completely off to me compared to the line art. It just looks really like off balance. Like the middle is too big and the sides are too small, something like that. And
yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm looking at it right now.
So I think if we could rebuild this, maybe fill out the hollows and the legs a little bit, it would be super cool, but also probably super never gonna happen, because I don't even think the old kid was that popular. So,
which sucks, because that's a really cool design. You know what? It kind of reminds me of, what is that line of kits? Is it from Moderoid, who makes like those little bipedal mechs with like the little Vespa-looking moped cockpit coming out of the crotch?
Hasegawa makes them.
Yeah, okay.
Mecha We Go or something, I think.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember the name, because they've got the Evangelion crossover going on right now, where they just released that Asuka Mecha We Go.
Yes. I'm so tempted to see if they release the rest of them too, so then we just buy them all at once.
So let's keep going. What else do we have here? Which kit took you the longest to build, including painting and other custom detailing? I think for me, the longest time it took me to build a kit was actually the perfect grade Avalanche Exia Dash, just because I spread out the build over like a couple of weeks, just because I didn't want to get burnt out on it, and it has a lot of parts that need a decent amount of sanding because it is a Deban kit. But that would be mine.
For me, it's the perfect grade RX-78 that I built for that video, that the most recent one that I made, the long one, and that took me like 6 weeks, and I'm actually like not very happy with it, because like the detailing scheme that I went with ended up not looking as nice as I would have liked it to, but it was still a ridiculous amount of work because of how many little tiny bits needed color. And
right.
But like by the time I decided that I didn't like it anymore, I was already like a third of the way in. I'm like, god damn it. So I just kept going, and it was such a slog because of that. I mean, like the person who ended up getting it in the end, I think he was happy with it, but I don't know. That was kind of is my longest build and also most disappointing, sadly, because of a totally my own mistake.
Yeah. So we got 2 questions here that can basically be answered the same. What's the worst kit you've ever built and why? And what's the worst experience you've had with a kit? Easily for me, the perfect grade Evangelion Unit 1.
That is a common thing I have heard.
Yeah, that is easily the worst kit. And I get it, it's an old kit. Bandai, it was their first perfect grade, you know, but whoever decided that you need to slip an inner frame into a form-fitting rubber body condom needs to find a different job, because that's not their forte.
You know, honestly, if they had made it today with like some like better silicone-y kind of stuff, I'm sure it would have been a lot better. But the thing is, like, they're not going to go back and change the design and be like, oh, we're going to recast this with different materials now.
All right, I would like to see a perfect grade Eva 01, like perfect grade Unleashed.
Oh yes, that would be yes, definitely.
I think that'd be cool. They could definitely pull off some really cool stuff with like making the eyes light up and making the shoulders light up, which the shoulders lighting up was a gimmick that the original perfect grade Eva had, but you know, but
like you could have that go all the way through the whole body, like, you know,
right,
down to like the kneecaps, and like, yeah, look, that would be pretty cool.
But then you're gonna have people bitching about it didn't have those lights in the anime.
Oh my god, dude. if I had $1 for every person who was ever upset about an Eva thing that came out in the last 10 years, oh my god. Mm-hmm. It's like you make a rebuild thing, it's not the TV. If you make a TV thing, it's not the rebuild thing. You make a thing in the middle, like the metal build, people are like, oh, it's not anything.
my only real gripe about like what Bandai has done recently with their Eva stuff is the fact that they made they just kind of fucked up the DX stuff for the real grades.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like that made like none of that made any sense. Like just give the Unit 1 the gun.
Yeah, the positron rifle is used by the Eva 01 in the show, if I'm remembering correctly.
Right?
That's why they gave the Unit 2 DX an adapter part to give it to the Unit 1. The Unit 1 got the launch platform, which should have just been a separate release, so you can put them with all the kits instead of having to buy a DX set for a real grade that you already have if you want to have multiple of them. And give Unit 2 or give Unit 0 the shield. I mean, the new, what is it, Unit 8 or whatever the pink one is. I can't remember, but give the pink one the fucking sniper rifle. They did that. That was fine. I don't even think Unit 2 got a DX set.
It got nothing, and I'm like, really, you gonna do Asuka dirty like that? She doesn't deserve anything. Is that what we're really saying here? Like, no flight pack bits. Like literally nothing. No.
Not
cape.
Even the cloak. Like, not even the cape. Yeah. Not even the cape. Even the Kotobukiya one had that.
Yeah. So I was. But I was like, fine, whatever, I'll take it, because, you know.
Right. Like, another big gripe I have is, where's the mass-produced Eva?
Dude, okay, so I think of the only mass-produced Eva thing that has been made within, like, the last 10 years is the NX Edge style tiny figure. Yeah. As a premium band, I did one batch, and it's gone. It's like, if you want one now, it's like $200, and I'm like, no one's gonna pay that, obviously. And it's like, you have a metal build body that's perfectly fine. You had the new HG whatever thing that's like slightly like improved on the old thing. You could use that.
The LMHG, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Like, you get the LMHG, you have the real grade. They all use the same body. Just give it a different head and give it fucking angel wings. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like 2026. I'm gonna call it now, right? Ava's, what is that? That'll be like Ava's 30-year anniversary.
I would like to see either a mass-produced Eva or a perfect grade unleashed Evangelion for that anniversary.
They maybe then. Maybe if we hold on till then.
Yeah. So let's get into the YouTube comments because we got through most of the Twitter ones.
Sure.
Let's see. Alec Tech asks, he says, I always wondered, what do you two value the most about model kits?
I look for density of the experience, if that makes sense.
No, I totally get what you mean. I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, so like for and usually that means high parts count, but like if something has high parts count just because it's one thing a billion times over, like that wouldn't be very fun.
Right. Like I like it when the build is engaging. There's a lot of interesting things going on, you know, and it's not like, it's sad to see that they're kind of moving away from that with master grades, especially in the inner frame.
Yes. Yes.
Like when I first started getting into the hobby, I was like, oh, I don't care about master grade frame detail. I'm never gonna see it. But now I'm like, it does make it a lot more of a fun build experience when you're like, this is a lot of cool shit going on here. I might not see it later, but this is a lot of, you know, very interesting stuff going on. And that's why I like the Mark II so much, the master grade, because it has really good frame detail.
Yeah, and I think like, and even after the fact, right? After you build it, like the weight of it is there. Like the weight of all of the mechanism inside, and you move it and you can feel it and you can see it. Like that's really rewarding to like look back on after you finish building something. Like these days we have all of these, I guess you can call them like enthusiast products, right? Like Reborn 100 is a hands down an enthusiast product, and it's just there to like, hey, here's a big thing of a thing you wanted, leave us alone. But like almost
we didn't want to waste the money on actually engineering something good for it.
Yeah, like almost none of them are any interesting to build except for the Hama Hama.
I really want the Hama Hama. That is a really cool design.
Yeah, so like I think it's just kind of sad. Like I honestly like for like
GP04.
Yeah, for GP04, I would have been happy if they just stuck like the old MG in there, you know, just like something. But no, it's like you're just literally building a big high grade, and I think it's just like you're paying so much money for it. There's for me, right, like as a person who values like density of experience, I'd rather spend that money on like 2 really cool high grades or something instead of like that.
That's why for like the longest time I felt like I was getting the most value out of high grades because I could buy them in bulk. Like I was like, well, I could bring 300 to the hobby store and get like, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 master grades, or I could go get like 30 high grades.
Yeah,
and that's why I have so many high grades in my collection now.
I will say though, for high grades though, for me, like it really depends on the line. Like I'm not like, because for like IBO for example, they did a lot of really cool things. But after you've built about 2 of them, actually just like build like 1 Gundam frame and build 1 Graze frame, and you've literally seen every single kit in the entire series.
Yeah, my problem with the IBO frame is it's just made as cheap as possible. They all have terrible sticker sheets for the most part, and the frames are like a complete crapshoot. Like you don't know if out of box, like obviously it's not hard to tighten up joints, but the out of box quality when you get an IBO kit, like it's either gonna be okay and loosen up in a couple months to the point where it's a floppy mess anyway, or it's just gonna be a floppy mess straight out of the gate.
I think I got pretty lucky because I bought all those kits roughly when they were coming out, so like I didn't have to worry about that too much. But like I only bought the first the first Barbados and also the Grimgird, that one.
Oh, I do like the Grimgird.
Yeah, and like so for the Grimgird, like the frame technically is unique for it, and like I think the Helmwege Reinkar also has the same frame, but like the Grimgird had it first in that mold, even though it's built almost exactly like a Graze. So like that was okay, but like oh my god, like Grimgir's super popular, it gets reprinted it got reprinted a lot since then, so I'm sure like if you buy one now it's really crapshoot. Yeah,
I don't know, like I really want the Grimgird, and I want the what was it, not Reborn 100, the Full Mechanics 100. I want the Full Mechanics 100 Grays to get a big reprint so I can buy a bunch of them, because I really want like a small army of them. I actually just got my hands on a Grays custom for $20, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Excuse me. Somebody asked, can you name any hidden gem kits that most overlook? And as reviewers yourselves, which Gunpla or toy reviewer do you often watch or patronize? That's a good question.
My hidden gems. Okay, so hidden gems. So my channel's never really had a theme, but like, I guess if you wanted to give it a theme, hidden gems probably is like what I do. I never review anything new as it comes out because I can never beat the speed of anybody who actually lives over there in Asia somewhere.
Right.
And honestly, I don't have the time to keep up with that. So,
me neither. No.
Yeah, so like anything I review is like something that I think is nice, and obviously some of the things I've reviewed are quite common. But
yeah, I mean that's kind of like what I try to do too. Like I feel like I was trying to review like some newer stuff for a while, and some of the stuff that comes out is like I just don't really care about it, don't have much to say about it, you know. So like.
Yeah, and
it kind of just made me burnt out a little because like I'm just making all these videos about stuff I don't give a shit about. And now I'm like, if I got a lot to say about a kid, I'll make a review on it. If I don't have a lot to say about it, I just might make a short little video talking about it and covering it.
Yeah, exactly. Like actually, there was actually a specific kit that burnt me out. That like really kind of like put me on tilt, and it was like, so Master Grade Age 2 normal, like
okay.
that like it's not bad per se, but I think that Bandai made a lot of very questionable decisions when they made it the way they did.
Such as?
And so, oh god, it's been so long. That was like what, 7 years ago, I think, 7 or 8 years ago now. But there were a lot of like tiny places where, when the H2 transforms into its mobile armor mode, things are supposed to latch together, and the latches are super tiny, but they're not like really solid, dense ABS locks. This was when Bandai first started doing like the soft polystyrene stuff. So like, a lot of stuff would literally just wear out the first time you do it, and then it would just never hold together again. Right, so that's one thing. The wings, inside of the wings had this little like lock mechanism or something, so that you weren't supposed to move them in a certain direction, and if you did, it would break.
Yeah.
There was the fact that the knee caps were attached to the thighs instead of the lower leg, which is fine, right? Like that like some kids can rock that look, except it stuck out for like a mile, and like there was just like hollow gap where the leg was supposed to be, and like the knee was just like this like multi-jointed flimsy mess, and it's like, bruh, you've been making like perfectly fine transforming Master Grade Zeta frames since like 2001. You can't. How did you do this?
Yeah,
but they did.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like sometimes it really feels like any decision made by Bandai is a huge monkey's paw. Like, oh, we're finally getting this one thing, but there's a huge caveat to it. Like the premium Bandai store. Oh my God, we don't have to import our P Bandai kits anymore. But also, every fucking new kit that comes out almost is a P Bandai limited release.
Yeah. So.
We had more P Bandai releases than regular releases last year.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, actually, I wanted to cover this in a separate video on my own, but I never got around to it because like I wrote the script like literally 2 years ago, but I just never made it because I didn't think there was enough of an audience for it. It's just that like the question was, is P Bandai killing Gunpla? And I don't really think it is, but the thing is also to consider that there's so many kits out there right now. Mm-hmm. Right, that for you to be a person who has already experienced everything that you can go out and buy in a store, like as a regular release,
you've kind of already had your field day with Gunpla.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and that's what P Bandai is there for, right? They're there to cater to those people,
like to the enthusiasts. But yeah,
and that's where they can make these things at small volume with much more predictable demand and not basically lose money on it. But like,
right, and I totally agree with that. It just gets annoying when there's stuff that's like not necessarily appealing to enthusiasts and could very well sell very well at retail release, and they just print like 50 of them.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah. That's probably I would say that's probably true for like at least half of the AOZ stuff that they have made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. High grade inlay when though? Like when are we getting a high grade inlay? Let's be honest.
Yeah. But for real, actual hidden gem, probably not a gem anymore because I think like people already like discovered the kit like a few years ago. But like high grade Universal Century Zuda is really good.
Yes, the Zuda is really cool.
very good. And the MG Nemo, which I don't know when was the last time Bandai reprinted it, but 2,800 yen.
I've never even seen the Master Grade Nemo.
2,800 yen, okay. And it has a full, like 2.0 level inner frame on the inside. 2,800 yen.
I'll have to look into that.
Keep
my eye out for that.
It's cheaper than everything in the Reborn 100 line, and it is more detailed than all of them. Like, it's mind-blowing value for what it is. So, I mean, like, it's a little boring, but honestly, I really like the Zeta color that comes in the green and dark blue.
Mm-hmm.
And it only comes with one gun and one shield and just 2 beam sabers, no other weapons. But like, honestly, like, just give it something from one of your other kits and it'll look fine doing it, considering like how many times the Nemo has been repurposed now in Universal Century. So
right,
yeah, really cool kit.
For me, Hidden Gem, I don't know if this is a little contrarian or not, but I really like, hold on, let me move my chair a little bit. It was kind of over my cord. For me, I really like the old Gundam Wing no grade 1/144th scale line because they have that really, really goofy, very old charm to them, and they're not that hard to find, and they're very cheap.
Oh, actually, no, I'm thinking of something different, but I'm going to chime in and I will say that I agree with you. Although I think I'm thinking about the Endless Waltz line because my friend had the Sandrock.
Yeah, I've got the Sandrock as well. It's got a really terrible head sculpt, but I love having it on my shelf.
Yeah, it was like, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And like whenever he came over, he brought it, and we would just play with it like on the floor, and I was just like, wow, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
So many good memories.
Let's see. What do you do with your Gundam boxes? Personally, for me, I trim the ends off of them. Like I'll flatten the top of the box with the box art on it. I'll trim the sides off, and then I pin the box art up on my wall if I like the box art enough. If not, I just throw the boxes away, and then I take all of the extra parts, like any extra accessories, I'll keep them on the runner, and I'll throw those, any decals, and the manual into a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and then I have all those in a giant like box.
So I have like a closet where I put my Gundam stuff, and after I built everything, I leave all of the runners in it, and I put the box back to where it was. Exactly. Okay. So this way, it's kind of like a check for myself to make sure that I'm not just like hoarding too many kits that I can never store. But it's also like I don't have as much display space in my house because like my walls aren't really good for it. Yeah. So I only have like a handful of kits out at any given time. So my kits always need a place to go back to when they're off of the shelf. So yeah, and also like I really like looking at all of the boxes. Like when they're arranged like in sequence, like by release or series or whatever.
Like I've got my current backlog piled up in 2 stacks that are both taller than I am right now, and I'm 6 foot tall, so they're decent size. And I really like looking at those boxes as much as I do looking at the art up on the wall.
Yeah. So like whenever I buy anything, I always be like, okay, can it fit into the closet? If it can, I will buy it, and if it can't, then I probably shouldn't. So like whenever I shuffle my stuff around, I find like an extra space that's big enough for literally anything. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Right now, I think I have enough room for maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a handful more like master grades or something like that. But like honestly, my wish list is really short this year, so it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really have much self-control, so if I run out of shelving space for Gunpla, I just put up another shelf or put other stuff in storage. Like, originally I only had 3 shelves for Gunpla, and then I ended up actually installing 2 more permanent shelves. I filled those up. I had 3 more shelves that had other stuff on it. I cleared those off and put them in the attic so I could have more Gunpla on there, and then those filled up. So now I actually found a 4-tiered glass cabinet. It's not a Detolf, but it's similar to a Detolf. I found it for $12 at like a thrift store. So now I have that filled up with Gunpla. I'm like, okay, where the hell am I going to put the rest of this stuff?
Hey, I mean, as long as it's not a fire hazard, right?
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Somebody wants to know what you've been up to and if you're experiencing a burnout because you haven't been active on YouTube in a while.
Oh, I actually have a video that I actually recorded a thing. When did I think it was like a week ago, But it's just audio. I haven't taken like the footage, like the B-roll or anything for it yet to put it together. But I will be uploading that soon.
All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will be pretty excited about that.
Well, I mean, like, again, like, don't expect anything, right? It's literally just me talking for like, I think, what, 10-15 minutes or something like that. So yeah. I mean, like, I'll probably like just upload it and then unlist it after a while, so that it's not just
people
like
know you're still alive.
Yeah, but yes, I am alive. I never die. Citrus is immortal. Don't worry, it's fine.
Let's see. What is something people look for in reviews but you don't particularly care about? I'm guessing this is like from the standard of what we include in our reviews, or just like maybe something we don't care about on kits but other people want to see in reviews. I guess
I don't.
Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say? You can go first.
Okay, sure. So I don't personally care too much about articulation. That's one.
That's actually what I was gonna say too.
Yeah, because like, it'll look good, right? If it can move a little bit, it's fine, right? Like the line art looks good, so you can make it look good without having to like have the full splits or whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand that people are like, it can't do the full splits, it's fucking trash. Like, bro, this is a dom, they float around. They don't even barely move their legs besides a fucking crouch. You really need the full splits from a dom?
I will say though that because I'm really lazy and I hate building stands, I do like kits that can pose with their feet on the ground more than
Yes.
So I do really care about ankle articulation, but that is it.
Yes, I do like when they have ankle pivots. It really does bug me when there is no ankle pivot, because the ankle pivot is really crucial to pulling off some good-looking dynamic poses.
Yeah. That, and I don't really care about how tight or loose something is. I mean, just glue something or wrap it in tape or whatever. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like in my reviews, like if I'm talking about like, oh, this is tight or loose, I'm talking about that not from me giving a shit if it's tight or loose, because I'll fix my kits if I need to, right? But it's just from a purely this is how it comes out of box standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. What is your favorite Gundam design and your least favorite Gunpla or biggest disappointment? Favorite Gundam design for me is either the GP03 from Stardust Memory or the G-Self from Reconquista and G.
Gundam design for me. Favorite?
I'm going off like main Gundams here, not just like any mobile suit, because that would be way too much to pick from.
Okay. Oh, okay. So lead Gundam. Favorite looking lead Gundam.
Yes.
Oof. That is a really big toughie.
Even with just the lead Gundams, yeah, it still is hard.
I like Zeta and I like Turn A, and if you wanted me to pick one, I don't know how I would do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird for me because like I don't know how I feel about the Zeta, because like I like it, but out of all of the lead Gundam designs, it's probably one of my least favorite.
Oh no,
but
totally.
Like, but I still do really like it. And
Zeta for me was I went into it and I thought like, oh, what is this bony looking weird triangle thing?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just grew on me. Like the more I looked at it, I was like, the more interesting it became. And I also hate and this is like more of like my own beef with myself, is that I can never pose any of my Zeta kits properly, ever. It just always looks terrible. And I'm like, I look at like magazines and I look at the show and I'm like, it looks so good there. Why can't I do this on my shelf? And it just always looks so off, just a little bit. It's
I feel you.
Yeah.
Something relating to transformable mobile suits that I wish Bandai would do. This isn't related to any question anyone asked, but I wish they would make separate kits for the mobile suit mode and for the like flight mode or the alternate mode, because the way I see it is, you kind of forego the need for the transformation gimmick, so you can put more effort into just designing a good solid mobile suit mode and a good solid flight mode, and you can only display them in one way at a time. So if you want it to have it one way, you could just get one or the other, or if you want both, you can buy both without having to buy the same kit twice and build the same kit twice.
Well, for like the Wave Riders and stuff, they kind of do that with the high grades, right? Because they're parts formers. Mm-hmm. But the really sad thing is when they do that and they still somehow mess it up.
True. Favorite. the least favorite Gunpla, biggest disappointment. Least favorite for me would still be the Evangelion Unit 1, and I would say those probably... I wouldn't say it was a big disappointment, because I knew it was an old kit. I knew the rubber bodysuit was bad. I don't know what I would call my biggest disappointment, though. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, so like rolling from that thing that I just said about like messing up high grades.
Yeah.
So the biggest one most recently is the Zeta Plus A1.
Okay. Didn't you do a video on that?
I did, yes.
Okay,
and I think
so.
I pointed out very specifically, it's like, I don't know, it's not hard to make the proportions correct in the size, right? Like the fixed figuration 1144 looks really good. It just needs to be not gummy plastic.
Yeah.
But they messed up the transformation of the foot, they messed up the transformation for the knee, and then when you put it all together, the legs just look like a little bit too large because of how badly the leg transforms, and it's just an unbalanced mess.
Yes.
It just looks awful.
Yeah.
And the fact that it had the audacity to be more expensive than every Rizel and the Delta Plus, and even the Revive Zeta Gundam was just like, I think Gundam I think Bandai actually hates Gundam Sentinel fans. Like, that is the only reason why it is so disappointing. Like, it's not trash. Like, it's not.
It's just disappointing.
Yeah, it's just so horribly disappointing.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
As far as Sentinel goes, I'm really surprised the Deep Striker got a retail release still.
Yeah, I know. I was like, given the price that they were trying to charge for it, I really expected it to be like P Bandai or something, or maybe even like a weird upgrade kit kind of thing, right? Like, buy Deep Striker parts. Like, hell yeah, I would do that. But it's just, I don't know. Like, the fact that it came out that way and you have to waste so many pieces, like, it's like, didn't you think about how much this would cost you to make in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know. I still really want one because it's a really cool display piece, and
honestly,
I would love to get my hands on the Mechanicore one. As you know, as bad of reputation as Mechanicore kits get, I still want one.
No, but like, you can't argue with how good that looks when it's properly assembled and not broken.
And I think the Mechanicore one literally has a laser cannon, so that is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, I totally agree.
If we're talking really cool gimmicks, though, that I wish Bandai would bring back, would be like, it might be kind of stupid, but I wish we got more spring-loaded like missile launching gimmicks.
I was just about to say that, actually.
Really? Because my friend just built the Great Mazinger, like the old kit from Bandai, and that has a spring-loaded rocket punch, and we were playing around with that thing for like an hour.
Yeah, I think the old high-grade Big O had a spring in it for something too.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a spring-loaded, like the piston kind of punch, you know?
Maybe, yeah. And of course, like old perfect grids had springs. We don't have springs anymore.
Yeah.
Which I feel like there's a lot of room there, and especially for some of the transformation-y things, right? People always talk about stuff being floppy or loose. Like, that's like a good opportunity to me to like, oh, just put like a little leaf spring or something in there, and it'll just hold that position once you put it there. And I think that would be really cool.
Because the Perfect Grade 007 sword, that had spring-loaded joints, didn't it? Like it's spring locking, something like that?
Yeah. There's clutches inside of the elbows and the knees. But the problem is both the knees and the elbows are also double jointed. So like,
so the other joint will just give out?
Yeah, depending on the pose over time, right? I mean, like, it's really beefy as it is, but the problem is like the clutch has really, really, really big gaps between all the positions you can lock in. So posing with it is kind of a pain.
I mean, I'd still really love to have that kit in my collection, but I mean, the next two perfect grades I'm definitely gonna get the Mark II perfect grade for my next one. And then I think after that, I'm going to end up getting two Exia perfect grades because I want to get the Bandai one just to have as the normal one. And I'm going to get the Daban one to use my perfect Exia repair parts, yeah.
Yeah, nice, yeah.
Somebody else asked, what hands do you prefer? Do you prefer like the 3.0 Master Grade hand swappable finger MG hands or the trigger finger and 3-finger split MG hands? I prefer swappable finger hands, personally.
I prefer everything except for swappable finger hands.
Really?
Give me the whole hand, please.
I just don't like the cleanup. I just don't like the cleanup on the posable hands. That's the only thing I don't like about them.
Oh, no,
I think it's really
it doesn't have to be posable. I just want the whole hand. I hate fingers because they've tried so many different kinds of different attachment bits for the finger bits, and they just never stay. Like, they never work for more than 5 seconds, and then you can't glue it in place because that defeats the whole purpose. So just
right, because you swap them out.
Yeah,
that does make
give
sense.
Us proper fixed post, solid, fisted, whatever kind of hands. That is one thing that the Reborn 100 line has done really well, is that they give us really nice detailed hands. But like, regular Master Grades can use them too, you know.
No.
So yeah,
the swappable hands, I like them purely out of convenience for like not having to clean up like the 3.0 hands, or I guess trigger finger and 3-finger split is all right. But for posability, I like the 3.0 the most.
My only problem with the trigger finger hands, I mean, like, although like they are typically my preferred hand of choice, is that once you, even after you separate it, like the posability at the knuckle is kind of pointless because the finger's always bent.
Right.
So like you can't do like a pointing pose, you can't do any kind of really like dynamic, dramatic open hand pose or anything like that. Yeah. And obviously depending on how the 3 fingers were originally jointed, so some of them had bars jointed, and those you would hold accessories really well. But like the ball jointed ones, like after you cut them apart like that, they basically have no more ability to grip anything unless you just start putting like sticky tack in the hand or something. Yeah.
I guess like for overall 3.0, because of like, you know, you get the whole hand and the posability, but for pure like building convenience, I like the swappable finger hands just because I don't really have to put much thought into them.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have. What kit doesn't exist but you want it to? I was literally just talking about this like to somebody the other night. And
Master Grade Zaku 1 2.0.
I'll tell you what I want. I want a Master Grade fully transforming, don't care what scale it's in as long as it's around the size of the average Master Grade, because you know, I think if it were truly in Master Grade 1/100 scale, it would be really big due to the size, but I want a Master Grade fully transforming Gar.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, because like, you know, then I would be able to buy 2 of them, because I'd be able to have the Gar, and then I'd be able to have Galleon and the Gal machines, and then I'd probably have to buy the, what is it, like the Micro Man line of little figures for Guy and Mikoto, and I think they have a Swan one as well, but I don't know. I think that would be something Bandai could pull off. They could easily get the licensing for it. You know.
Oh, but you know what? On the subject of kits of things that aren't Gundam, I would actually really like to see. Well, I mean, and like, you know, Bandai has kind of experimented with this with their like figurized mechanics line.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Bandai do a model kit the way they do now of a car.
Okay.
Like a real car.
Yeah.
Full engine bay, suspension components, basically as much as you can, right? Like basically something like one of those like $100 plus like Tamiya kits or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe
would you like it to be like glued together, or do you want it to be like a snap fit like Gunpla is?
I think at that, like, depending on how fine that they want the detail to be, I'm okay with glue, but I just want to see like at what level can they make something like that. And I feel like given all of the little tiny bits of injection and stuff, I would love them to see like put together an engine the way they've done like the cup noodle kit, where they have like all the different colors in it, but then it would also be like all of the different colors of all the like the cables, all of the hoses, all of the like little text inlays on like the valve covers, stuff like that. And I think that would look really cool.
Yeah,
just to see if they like what it would be like.
Yeah. Well, here's a question for me. Have you ever worked with resin before?
Never.
Do you have any interest in doing it?
And no, because I had like resin dust is really hard to control even with water, unfortunately. Like, because it just gets everywhere. And
that's true.
And like, sure, you have water, you capture the dust, but then like as soon as the water dries,
right?
Yeah, if you miss cleaning it, that's a patch of resin dust that would just get blown over somewhere.
Right.
And
I'd probably only work on it like out in a garage or something.
Yeah. So like I don't have enough space for me to be able to like safely work on resin for like any kind of real project. So I just never wanted to mess with that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to learn how to do it because one of my friends. Have you ever heard of a guy on YouTube named Dave's World?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, he's around my subscriber count. I'm friends with him. I pop into his live streams sometimes. He told me when I get back from basic training, he's going to send me over a resin kit because he got like 2 extra copies of one that he ordered somehow.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
Yeah, it's It's by Vispo, I guess is the company name. It's a 1/6 scale Evangelion Ray on a motorcycle.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Does it come with the bike?
Oh yeah, it comes with the bike, and she's like
Holy
sitting on
crap.
it. Yeah, it comes with the bike. She's sitting on it, and I'll pull up a picture. Actually, I've still got my thing streaming. You can see it, right?
Yeah. 1/6 scale bike is huge.
There's a couple of them actually, but this is the one that I'm getting right here.
Oh,
and
nice.
It comes with all those water decals for all of the decals on the bike, on the uniform, and on the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll throw a picture of it up on the screen so the viewers know what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited for that. I'm just a little nervous because I'm not the best at painting yet, but I am learning. So we'll see how that turns out.
Wish you the best with that.
Thank you. I do have a couple of friends who work with resin, so I'll be able to glean some information from them. But let's do one more question here. We're getting closer to the 1.5 hours mark. So, what is your favorite mobile suit from Gundam Seed?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'd have to say, like, while you're thinking, I'd have to say mine is definitely the Justice or Infinite Justice Gundam. I really like the Atherin Zala suits. I'm not a huge fan of Seed, but I do like a lot of the designs.
Okay, I do really like Infinite Justice. I do have one, and
the high grade is so good.
I have the master grade sitting in my closet. I picked it up for okay, it was like a billion years ago. Mandrake had one that just for like the longest time. I think they had it for like 2 years, and no one ever bought it, and it was only like 2,000 some yen, and it just said severe box damage, which is like a normal picture. No one ever bought it, so I was like, fine, I'll buy it. And like I got it, and it was like so yellowed, but it was perfectly fine, right?
Right.
On the inside.
Those parts are usually fine even with box damage,
Yeah,
unless
so
the box is like stepped on.
I mean, I was a little crushed, but it wasn't like anything like worse than what would happen if like someone just was not careful packing it or something.
Yeah.
And I was super happy to get it because I think it was also from like way back when it was first printed. I did have another Infinite Justice before that one, but my mom renovated the house when I was away at school, and it was left in the sun, like for almost the entire after. Yeah. So
so it like yellowed.
So yeah, so like almost all the pink is like faded, gone now.
God.
The beam sabers are like completely yellow, like they're not even pink anymore. They're just like yellow.
Yeah.
So I don't have
that
it
as
anymore.
weathering. It's okay.
Yeah. It's a deactive mode or something. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, Infinite Justice is like definitely one of my tops from Seed. I think aside from that, it would have to be Sword Impulse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sword Impulse is really cool too.
I just
I'd
like
say a second for me would be like the Buster Gundam.
Oh, Buster's cool. Yeah. Very very stylish.
Shit, there was one last thing I was gonna bring up, and it totally just skipped my mind. Oh my god. Oh no, I remember we were talking about box damage. I don't think I ever showed you the condition that my Perfect Grade Exia Avalanche from Daban came in.
Oh, I saw it on the I saw it in the Discord. That was really
yeah.
That was really sad, man.
That was really sad because it comes in 2 boxes and both of them came in extremely just fucked up condition. Like the boat that they came over on, sprung a leak or something, and a lot of the packages got water damage. Forged Horizon's one of the mods in my Discord. He also got the same kit that I did from the same batch. It was on the same ship, and his USPS processing facility, whatever, they saw the fucked up package and they're like, wow, this should not be in this condition, so they repackaged it into a dry box and sent it to him that way. Mine looked at it, slapped some fucking USPS tape on it, and sent it to me looking like a trampled on wet loaf of bread.
Oh, dude.
I was like, thanks, guys. The first package they also left in a puddle, so that's awesome.
Oh,
but somehow the worst damage it sustained, I guess, was some of the parts were knocked off the runners, and only one part was technically actually damaged, and it's got a duplicate part that I could just recast if I really wanted to, but you don't really see it anyways when it's up on the shelf, so it's not something that bugs me. The LEDs also sustained a little bit of water damage. There was some kind of rust on the circuitry that I cleaned off. I don't think there was any actual corrosion. They don't work right now because one of the wires actually got pinched and needs resoldering, and I don't know where my soldering iron is, but thankfully that's one that's right by the battery box, so I was able to just build it with the LEDs inside, and one day I'll just be able to pull the battery box out and resolder it, and hopefully it'll work. But it's a really, really cool display piece without needing the LEDs, because that thing is like 18 inches tall.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed on the repair.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that is just about gonna do it. We got through almost all the questions, and then next episode we can have some topics that we prepared to get into some more topical discussion than just kind of rambling. But I think this has kind of set like a good foundation for the couple episode series that we're doing. And for everybody who's watched to the end so far, thank you for being here and watching, and I guess more listening. There's not really much to watch besides the little animated background, I guess. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's anything that you guys would like us to talk about in upcoming episodes, we're going to be doing about 3 or 4 of them. Please let us know down in the comments. And thank you to Citrus for agreeing to do this with me. It was a lot of fun, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was great, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we can get some good topics for the next few episodes. But I think that's gonna this is gonna be. I can't speak today. That's gonna just about do it. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.